Let us not forget everything that happens. It's by the will of Allah. Holy will. It's time to unite and stand, and we will be the best amongst men. It's not time to be extreme or duty unthinkable, but to stand together as one. Tune into Sunnah followers, streaming every day, various platforms. Trust me, you'll find a way. Sunnah followers.
Control. Let's understand what is that issue. It comes from nafs. Self meaning nafs. Control. You control your nafs. In order to explain how your nafs contributed to your success or failure in your life. Everybody is walking and going up to a mountain, climbing a mountain. That huge mountain is the mountain of nafs, of yourself. Again, let me put it in such an image. You are standing on a valley and there is a mountain next to you. That mountain is your nafs, yourself. During your life, following the Quran and Sunnah, following the footsteps of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you are climbing on that mountain. And every inch, every meter, you hear a call from the devil. Because the devil stays at the top of the mountain of yourself, calling you and say, you cannot do it. You have to get back to your valley where you can smoke cigarettes, have drugs, going to the nightclub, fornication, whatever. Go to your valley. You are not strong. Go back. This is our life. This is how you experience different things during your life. Try to climb, and then there is Shaitan whispering to your ear saying that you cannot do it. You stop smoking, you cannot do it. You stop drinking wine, you cannot do it. You stop gazing at the other gender, you cannot do it. Whatever haram, unlawful things. Someone may say, but I have passed the beginning of my mountain. It was hard for him, but he was able to get like a quarter maybe. And then if he move up again, like continue, he will hear the same thing again over and over again. And when you got close to the near of the top of your mountain, it's going to be harder on you. So imagine that mountain is divided based on the unlawful things that is attached to your heart. You can place it at different points. You can put some of them at the bottom of the mountain, some of them in the third of the mountain, the first third, some of them the next third. So now we have two-thirds. And then after that, you put them near to the top of the mountain. Shaitan is standing on the mountain and calling you for each action. Each action you move toward Allah, you move toward the success and say you cannot do it. Like a student, for example, he has to spend his day and night studying. So Shaitan whisper to his ear and he say, "Oh, you cannot do it. Oh, you enjoy going out with your friends. Let's leave this for today, and we still have the whole year in front of you, or we still have maybe a month or two, and then he will go outside." Other students, they say, "No, we have to continue to study in order to be successful." Same thing in our life. Same thing. Life is about exam. Whether you pass it or you fail it. So you climb, you get near to the top of the mountain. It's getting harder. I cannot continue. I may fall down. I may falling down. And then once you got to the top of the mountain, Shaitan will disappear. And this is the true success in our life. Is when you control yourself. You control your nafs. Not to have your nafs controlled you, to control you. So once you get to the top of the mountain, you will enjoy your life. But you need to remain careful, to be alert that at any time you may be deceived again. And Shaitan will get you somehow. So be careful, be alert all the time. So Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used to elevate his face every day until his death. فَاعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينُ. Worship your God until you reach to al-yaqeen, and al-yaqeen huwa al-maut. The only certainty in our life is life and death. So when you reach to your death, now you stop counting, and then your reward, your amal, will be open in front of you. One day, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, somebody came to insult him, and the Prophet ﷺ was around. So Sayyidina Abu Bakr, he didn't say anything. He didn't answer him back. He didn't reply back to him. But he continued to insult him, to say something like bullying him. It was bullying. So he answered him and he insulted him back after the third time. The Prophet ﷺ left. So he went after him, said, "What's going on?" He said, "When you didn't reply back to him, there is an angel responding and replying on behalf of you. And after you started to talk back to him, Shaitan came and the angels left. And I don't stay in a place where the Shaitan is there." ليس القوي بالصرعة، ولكن القوي من يملك نفسه عند الغضب. القوي, a strong man, is not the man that you can look at his muscles, his body, and his um, outfit, and you say, oh, he's strong. He's a muscle builder. ليس القوي. So this is not the strength that we look at. But the strength on you is when you control yourself when you are angry. The one who controls himself when he is angry is the strong one, male or female. So the strong man is not the one who can wrestle with others and defeat them. ليس القوي بالصرع. But the strong one is the one who controls himself, not to go out of order and to follow what the mainstream is doing. So the word nafs is highly important to the extent that Allah called our existence in life وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. So النفس is a mix between our body and our soul. Without having this combination, there is no nafs. The body go to the earth and the soul go to the sky somewhere else. So I want everybody of you to think about nafs, yourself. How you were able to control yourself during your life. For example, when you hear the call for prayer, do you control yourself and you go to make ablution and then you start to pray? Self-control is associated with sabr, patience. Associated with what? Patience. So we need a kind of patience in order to offer our worship. Without a self-control, we cannot fast the month of Ramadan because we become hungry after a while. So people can go and eat and cheat and say, I'm still fasting, and nobody knows. But you are trained to control yourself. Self-control again. So the worship is going to guide you and teach you how to have a self-control. And if you are able to control yourself, control your desire, control your stomach during the month of Ramadan, so this will give you the strength to control other unlawful desire. As we mentioned before, food and drink is essential for your life in order to survive. But you control yourself not to eat during the daytime and drink, which is essential. Do you think the other unlawful stuff is essential for your life? No, it's not essential. You will not be dead. You are not going to die if you don't lower your gaze. If you no. If you lower your gaze, you're not going to die. If you don't drink wine, you're not going to die. If you don't smoke cigarettes, you're not going to die. And other things like drugs and this and this and this and that. All the unlawful things, it's not essential for our life. So these 30 days every year would guide you and motivate you, encourage you, and prove to you that you are strong. You can do it. You can stop the unlawful stuff. So if you look at like the other worship like pilgrimage, Hajj, also needs patience. All the worship needs patience. And as I mentioned, patience is associated with self-control and the other way around, vice versa. They are connected to each other. And patience is a kind of worship. There are kind of worship that is related to our heart, like ar-rida, being satisfied, patience. And there is a big list of a'mal al-qulub, the worship that you can offer with your heart. Subhanallah. Wallahi, if you think about Allah and the Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, you would love him. He didn't give you any opportunity to be away from him. So even when you are sitting without moving your body, your heart could work and worship Allah. That's a great worship, is to worship through your heart. I will stop there, and Sister Layla, inshallah, will lead the discussion. Jazakumullah khair. Are you around? So I see Sister Zahar raising her hand. You can start, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Self-control. Let us know some definitions, some important definitions at the beginning. What is the soul? The soul is the secret of life, created by Allah, a creature by Allah, would remain a secret in the judgment day. Its very light thing invades the body, like the oil of the olive and the water inside the flour of baked goods. It's the life given by God to each one of us. Number two, the nafs, yourself. What is the nafs? It's our inner self. This exists as a result of the connection between the soul and the body. It's how you behave, what you want. The nafs has desires, and it lets the brain and the body execute it. That inner self can be perfect and higher if we do self-purification, and can be worse if we do sins and if we don't work in its purification. Allah mentioned in Surah Al-Shams, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا صدق الله العظيم. And by the nafs, Allah swear by the nafs, and who proportioned it and and inspired it of what's wickedness and its righteousness. He has succeeded who purified it, and he has failed who instills it with corruption. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Allah notify us in this surah to the importance of self-purification by himself. And it's not an option for human. We should do it. We should do that self-purification according to what Allah wishes. The nafs, yourself, can accept the goodness and can accept the evil. And the expression self-purifications is a description and curriculum. Meantime, like what we call it in Arabic, التخلية والتحلية. You give up means you give up your bad qualities and you gain good qualities. Like a person who prepared the land, then he cultivated. And the opposite of the word self-purification is dassaha, which in Arabic. This means to follow its desires, which cause to do lots of sins, which cause to instill it with corruption. And there are many types of nafs. oneself. A person could be promoted from one to another, or might be combined between two types or more of at the same time of nafs types. Number one is called النفس الأمارة بالسوء, the nafs that calls for the evil. Number two, النفس اللوامة, the blaming nafs. Number three, and that nafs inspired the goodness and or the evil. Number four, النفس المطمئنة, the rest assured nafs. And number five, النفس الكاملة, the perfect complete nafs. A person who works hard on self-purification, his nafs or his might promoted from the nafs that call for the evil to the blaming nafs, to the inspiring nafs, to the rest assured nafs, to the complete nafs. And sometimes a person might combine between two types of nafs. Meantime, then how would we do self-purification to control our self or to control our nafs? We should know this first. As I mentioned at the beginning, Allah ordered us in the Holy Quran to do self-purification. We should do this during all our life. And you benefit of every single info you know of Islam when you do self-purification. Otherwise, that religion info would remain just info. Someone who gets that info, just in cause you don't do that purification. If you do, because you don't practice that info, the self-purification make you practice all religion info you know. And the word self-purification contains two words inside it: to purify and then to promote. التخلية والتحلية. You promote your bad adjectives, then you got good adjectives. And now it's time to know steps to do for self-purification. Number one, studying the holy names of God, to get to know more about Him, His adjectives, His attributes. That causes humble to God. Number 2, to dhikr, tasbih. For example, every day you can say 1,000 times, La ilaha illallah. Say astaghfirullah al-azim 100 times. Say Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam 100 times. That's what benefits the nafs and the soul and the heart. Meantime. Number 3, attending Aqidah classes and always learn from the imams and the scholars. Number 4, reading Prophet Muhammad, peace and prayers upon him. Read his life story, the seerah, because he is the role model Allah assigned to us to follow. You would know how he behaves in each situation to learn from him. Number 5, help the poor Muslims and the needy. You can try to volunteer in a charity organization that would soften your heart. Number 6, as Allah mentioned in the Holy Quran, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, لن تنالوا البر حتى تنفقوا مما تحبون. صدق الله العظيم. Allah ordered us to give from what we love. Give to others anything you love. Give some time of your time. Give some money, your money. Give some information to anyone who needs it. Give something you love to get back the goodness. Number 7, say Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah. Means it's not like our praise. It's praising for it's okay. This means this is a dua of us, dua for God. It's not by listen to Prophet Muhammad. Okay, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. You ask God to bless Sayyidina Muhammad, and this would benefit you. Number 8, pray well and timely with concentration. Number 9, read Quran, especially before dawn if you can. This is the holy time determined by God for the sincere people who want God from their heart. And at this time, do dua, speak to Him from your heart. He hears you, and He will not let you down. Number 10, Allah is the one who puts the morals, and He taught us that morals in the Holy Quran. So learn that morals of the Quran and behave according to it, and to follow that's morals. And to conclude, by practice this daily, you would be better. Your nafs, your inner self would follow you. You could control it. And another thing, know that your soul is like a mirror. You clean it by reading Quran and zikr Allah, mentioning God's names. The soul became like a shining mirror, and has that insight by repeating God's names. God's name, this is dhikr, this is tasbih. Because the soul is something pure of God. It humbles to God by mentioning His name a lot. And your body humbles to God at prayers and when you hear Quran too. So by doing all of this, reading Quran, praying, mentioning God's name, so your nafs would automatically change. Your nafs will like what Allah likes and will hate what Allah hates. As the Imam al-Busiri said, he said a poem, والنفس كالطفل إن تتركه شب على حب الرضا وإن تفطمه ينفطم. Your nafs is like a kid. if you allow him to continue breastfeeding, he will grow up doing breastfeeding. And if you insist on stopping breastfeeding, he will stop breastfeeding and he will grow up normal. This is how the nafs before. You can stop it. And know this is very important thing. You should know it. النفس لا ينفع مواجهتها لكن ينفع مسايرتها. As my sheikh told me. This means in English, you cannot do confrontation with your nafs, but you can walk down along with it. Okay? You cannot one time stop everything your nafs wants. You cannot do this, but you can reduce its demands and work hard in self-purification. So you eliminate what your nafs demands, they get it, a little of it, like shopping, addiction, traveling, whatever your nafs like. Give it little of it and do that self-purification. Meantime, until you have the control over your nafs and you make it follow Allah like He wants. And if you succeed, you would be amazed of the result. You would be wonder, how did you change? You stopped doing something you used to addict it. And the opposite, you love something you never thought about it. And the answer for this wonder is, it says, I did this for Allah. Allah changed me. And you will be happy that you love what Allah likes. Okay? And I want to say, brief conclusion. A way to God is great. Nobody went to Him, then He went back. If anyone told you he went back from God's way, sure he didn't go from the beginning. And finally, did Allah see you insisting in worshiping Him and doing self-purification? He will guide you and will never let you go. Thank you for listening.
MashaAllah, Sister Sahar. So that's kind of details about the self-control. And you started with purification of your nafs. And you made a connection between purification of your nafs, purification like self-purification and self-control. And self-purification from both, from doubts and from desire. That's attached to our heart. And I remember going back to the first verses were revealed upon the Prophet ﷺ. اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم. So read in the name of Allah. Read in the name of Allah who created you, who created everybody from a piece of cloth. Read in the name of Allah who have taught human what they haven't been able to learn without His support. And when we talk about that, we said this is a self-purification of your nafs, self-purification to your heart, self-purification from any doubts that is attached to your aqidah. Because you need to read the universe, read the creatures. And I mentioned something about Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib, Hazrat Ali. When they asked him, who guided you to believe in Allah? He said, the leaves of mulberries or wood. like, because different animals, they eat it and they produce different products. So reading the universe is highly important. So when you think about that, so Islam came to Bedouin people, illiterate, some of them were illiterate, but it spoke to their hearts about something that they can practice. So you don't have to be a scholar to purify yourself, to purify your nafs, purify your heart. Now, just read out the Quran with reflections. Tadabbur. Reflect upon the verses of the Quran. So that's the first thing she mentioned, and then she went through the different kinds of nafs. And when she talked about that, so I imagined the mountain, and every nafs is somewhere in that mountain. So you have to climb your nafs. So, mashallah, I like what she said. Sister Layla?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. This starting this storm has gotten crazy now. It went up to 90 degrees, and I left to take my garbage out. And I don't believe it, Dr. Asim. It was sunny and it was 90 degrees. Now it's jet black, like it's nighttime, and it's raining like crazy, and it dropped back down to 50. Solar, but it's amazing. I like dark stuff. It's dark for me.
Is it dark?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's dark. It got dark. It's weird. And it's getting back cold. But anyway, I love this topic because it's what we spent the past 2 weeks discussing. You know, how to take the knowledge of the Quran, the knowledge of the examples of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and self-reflect. You know, look and see what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. You know, we're living in an environment, we're living in a society that is not filled with faith. We're living in a non-faith filled society. How to keep the fitra within the heart ignited, how to continue to keep your Muslim identity. So I want to hear you guys discuss, you know, how based on the words of Allah in the Quran, because Allah gives us the rules, the guidelines, and all of that. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions laid the examples for us. It's weird.
So I saw Sister Elma.
Yeah. So how can I want to see that your answers relate to that? Because I'm checking you. We spent a whole 2 weeks discussing self-control for this class. So I'm just letting y'all know.
Really?
Yes, I prepared for this. They prepared for this for 2 weeks since you canceled last class.
So we should stop today and listen to you. Okay?
Right. I want to hear everyone talk about, because you've done the self-evaluation. You all know what your strengths are. You all know what your weaknesses are. You know what you need to control. And I don't want to hear the tongue, because everybody has to control their tongue. What other deficiencies do you have within yourself that you need to work on? So we're going to start off with Elma, but I want to hear from everyone in here because we spent 2 weeks on this. Go ahead. Elma, take the mic.
Yeah. Okay, I wrote something earlier, and it's mainly pointing out a weakness that I've had growing up, and how I've changed, so I'm going to read now, and hopefully it relates to the topic. Hopefully it relates well to the topic.
It better.
We're talking about.
We've been talking about it 2 weeks. It better.
All right. I have reflected on myself, seeking to gain understanding on myself and the internal beliefs, opinions, and habits that have formed within me over the years. Growing up, I had insecurities which limited me and my character and defeated my happiness and strength, even though I saw myself as a good Muslim. My loyalty to myself, or self-love, or self-acceptance, was diminished. This led to an awakening within me, seeking answers to my negative self-image and lack of self-love. Reflecting upon the signs of Allah and remembering His blessings upon me, such as recognizing His existence and following Islam, was amongst the purest and greatest of His gifts, which He gives only to those He loves, and He gave that to me. Reflecting upon His love for me and His order that I too should love myself when He said, protect yourself and then your families from the hellfire. This led me to control the thoughts that form in my mind regarding myself, trying to deplete my self-image. And instead, I have filled my mind with empowering thoughts, recognizing my strength, my power, and my goodness that is within me. The belief I hold have transformed, and I am not limited due to lack of self-love. Instead, I always see a way out of any problem, any weakness, any mistake, or anything that I don't like within me or around me. I seek Allah, and I do find His mercy every time, His love and acceptance, making paths appear in my life, taking me places I never thought I would be. Sharing my thoughts was a huge struggle, and I thought I was not worthy of being heard. And Allah has shown me the way, patiently guiding me along this journey, guiding me to expressing the contents of my heart, the thoughts in my mind, the wisdom I have gained. And I do it well. I have seen the seriousness and impact of what we expose our ears, eyes, minds, and hearts has over us. Watching, reading, socializing carelessly without checking the correctness and if it's Islamically acceptable can do a lot to destroy us in regards to our views on ourselves and our identity. Over the years, I have controlled the environment which I would attend, the media I would consume, and the people I would contact with, therefore controlling and purifying the beliefs, opinions, and habits I hold, and filling my heart and mind with what is Islamically correct and pleasing to Allah. That's all.
I'm gonna be honest. Let me speak first because I worked on this and y'all know what to expect. I ain't happy with that because I told you guys, you're gonna have to dig deep within yourself. You know, all these, nice little storybook shortcuts are good. But what do you see within yourself? We spent 2 weeks on this chapter. This is the chapter of the book that we're learning every day at 6, Dr. Asa. And I spent 2 weeks on you guys trying to get you to self-reflect on what is it that's preventing you from getting closer to Allah. You got to dig in there. I'm not I better hear better from everyone else. Dr. Asim, I know you're gonna like it because it was a nice little paper for college, but that ain't what I'm teaching them. But
yeah, I like her writing, mashallah.
Yeah, that's about it. But she didn't dig
Sister
deep.
Elma, so could you give us several points to summarize what you have said, so to satisfy everybody? Go ahead.
That's right. So I would say that the reason why this topic, what I spoke about, is important to me is because the lack of self-love for myself is stopped me from speaking up, because we learn that we should have a strong presence as Muslims, especially as women. We should not allow ourselves to be stepped on or to be weakened by others. We should be strong in this world. And when you don't have self-love, you don't speak up, you don't protect yourself, you don't make much of a difference. You're afraid to speak your opinion. And it's just that this is why this topic is really important to me, because even speaking like now I'm speaking and expressing my opinions, I wouldn't have done that before. And it was this journey of learning to love myself and that I have value and Allah loves me. It has really changed me because I didn't have that before growing up.
Yeah, but what do you
mean by to love yourself?
Right, that's what I'm gonna say. Y'all got to dig deep. What is it that's caused you didn't understand your religion? Now that you understand what Allah expects of you, what has caused you to learn to love yourself, y'all all listening? Y'all got to dig. This is what we've been working on for 2 weeks in chapter 5 here of diluting wala wal bara. Y'all got to dig deep. What is it now that's caused you to love yourself? You didn't have self-love before. Now you do. Your fitra has been awakened. So what is it that's caused you to realize that you are worthy of that love? Y'all see it? Got to dig, man.
I got to remind you with the self-love. The Prophet ﷺ, when he met with Sayyidina Umar, and he said, no one can reach to a complete Iman. His Iman is complete unless if he loves Allah and His Messenger better than anything else. So Sayyidina Umar said, I love you better than my property, better than my family, but not better than myself. So he said, not now. So your Iman is not complete. So Sayyidina Umar went for a walk and he thought about, oh, without having the messenger, I could be astray. I could be in the hellfire. So he's the one saved us here and also in the hereafter. So he used his intellect, his reflection, to reach out to the fact that we should love Allah and His Messenger better than even ourselves. So when you said the self-love, so this is something should be built within everybody. If somebody, for some reason, didn't think about himself and try to prioritize or put the priority for somebody else, it depends. Because if that his son, his kids, so by nature, we should love our kids, especially when they were like children, sometimes better than our nafs. And I remind everybody that no one can wish for somebody to be better than him except his kids. You wish to be better than you. So now, what is self-love? I just want to ask Sister Elma, how do you connect the self-love to the self-control?
To self-control?
Or lack of love to the self-control.
Okay, well, so if you have lack of love in this world, you won't have control over your life. You'll be easily manipulated, easily influenced by others, and it might be negatively. It might be like things you don't want to do, and so you don't have control. You don't love yourself. You don't think, okay, this is not what I believe. This is not something that I want to do, but you don't have control over these feelings, so you just accept what other people are doing or telling you to do. So you don't have control of the situation many times. That's one example I would give.
Yeah, from this discussion, so inshallah, we'll have the next topic, reflection on sacrifice.
I'm still not content with this at all.
Upon sacrifice. Because here is the issue. Everything is connected. You cannot have a cross line between something and something else. What you have said about manipulation, this is this is a lack of wisdom. And if you follow, okay, Sister Layla can explain that better than me. If you follow Quran and Sunnah, you will never be manipulated
by people. That's what I'm saying. That's what is supposed to be talked about. What caused you now to not allow people to manipulate you? Because now you understand your purpose in life. Now you have that certainty of faith. What did we talk about? Certainty of faith. Don't just say you believe in Allah. What did the Prophet say? Say it and be firm in it. You know, I know I'm wearing hijab. because it's what my Lord commanded me to do. And I don't fear anyone but him. It's all about pleasing him. Y'all got to take it deeper. Okay. I want to hear that deeper, especially. Let's hear from Fame. Fame, let's hear. And Elma, participate in the classes more. I know you in a different time zone. You might have missed out on some of the lectures. Fame, you were here for all the lectures. Let me hear your answer.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say what I have on here. So my reflection, I said I think self-control is very important in our lives in all aspects. And sometimes it's hard to try to have that self-control, especially if you're surrounded by the temptations, like just trying to be that one person or that handful of believers. Because the world is a corrupt place now, and we all know that it's just going to get worse. For example, around this time, we call this wedding season because, for example, for people in my country, this is the time that they try to get married and everybody's trying to set up their wedding gatherings and all this stuff. So we call it the wedding season. But the things that go on these weddings and so-called celebration is totally in contradiction to the laws and rules that Allah has set for us. And the Prophet ﷺ taught us the proper way of having a wedding celebration. But what these people are doing now, getting the bride dressed up with tight-fitting clothing and see-through clothing and getting the hair done with like fake hair and hair weaves and extensions and taking the hijab off and having this bridesmaids and flower girl and best man and just all these stuff and throwing these huge parties with music and men and women and mingling and dancing and having dance floors and renting halls. This all goes like on all night. It's pretty much an example of making yourself like a public spectacle because first off, the dress code and the dance floors and the music, all of that is bringing unnecessary attention to yourself because I'm trying to have that self-control. And it's kind of like the wedding thing and the way we Muslims get married. We don't get married like this. And this is not even how I got married, but that's what these Muslims are doing today. And this is like an example of what we were talking about in our class of putting yourself and making yourself a spectacle of yourself because you're bringing all of that attention because of this wedding. And that's not how we get married. And so I said that sometimes it's always like, sometimes I have thoughts like, well, maybe I should just go there and stay there for an hour or just go there and see this person or that person's going to be there. But it's always those little thoughts that eventually would cause you to transgress the limits of Allah. And next thing you know, you're part of those dance floors and doing all that. So distancing myself from these kind of gatherings, that's my self-control. And that's just what I wanted to share.
MashaAllah, sister. So it is clear from what you have said as self-control is related to the action that you do during your life. And during this time, we are surrounded by fitna. And it is hard for people to have a self-control. That's what I heard from you. I agree with you to some extent. We shouldn't worry about what people say about us. We shouldn't worry about what's happening around us. If you look at Sayyidina Ibrahim, Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he was the only believer at his time. And people of cave, they were few, like 7 or less or more, around 7, 8, like that. But they were true believer. So Allah saved them and he made their condition amazing, miracle, to the extent that they slept for 309 years and then without this. And they came back to life, like they woke up at a different time. And so the believers around them. So I'm saying this and to myself and to you. believe that you are very strong and you can have a self-control. And whatever the surroundings around you, you can avoid that. And Sister Laila said you need to dive in your nafs. You need to dive in your nafs and find out. As if you are digging about something to find it. Have you looked into your heart? Like we have backbiting, we have envy, we have hate. All of this are bad. So if you have a good self-control, you are going to replace all of this with love, tranquility, peace, in order to meet Allah with a healthy heart. Allah said about Prophet Abraham, يوم لا ينفع مال ولا بنون إلا من أتى الله بقلب سليم. No one will be saved in the hereafter except for those comes to Allah with a healthy heart. Healthy, free of all of this, I call it garbage. غيبة, namima, lies, many things that we can, as your heart can be used for worship, it can be used for committing sins and mistakes. This is the issue. That's why purification, as Sister Sahar mentioned earlier, very important, is highly important. So the purification is going to purify our heart, our nafs, from all of this issue and leave your heart healthy. Otherwise, the heart will be qualified to enter the hellfire. As Allah says in the Holy Quran, the first criteria that would qualify people for the hellfire is their heart. وَلَقَدْ ذَرَأْنَا لِجَهَنَّمَ كَثِيرًا مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. So they didn't reflect through their heart. They didn't make use of their heart. So, mashallah, that was nice, Sister Femi. Jazakallah khair. Do you have any other comments to say?
No, that was it.
Okay, thank you. Who's next? Anybody wants to share something? If you don't share, you have 2 weeks, classes for 2 weeks about this subject. So we need to hear you out. Otherwise, we are going to repeat this class next week. Who's willing to speak up?
Reginald, you want to go? Go ahead, Nisa. I'll go after you.
Oh, Sister Anisa. MashaAllah.
I'd like to go after you. Okay, so Pamela. Okay, you want to go after me? Because mine ain't going to be that long. Okay, you can go after me. Because mine is not going to be that long. I'm not doing all of that stuff that I'm just, what really caught my attention, because I was doing stuff, was the fact about Ramadan and the 30-day and how you can control. And that just made me remember, I would always do Ramadan. I would always fast those days and make all my prayers. My thing was that I was lax in my prayers. And just that last Ramadan that I did, I just said, goodness, if I can pray and not miss any of my prayers during Ramadan, then I can do it. I can do this. It's that prove me so I can do this. I can do it. So after that time, that's when I did. I stated that I'm going to make my prayers, and that's what I did. And I've been doing it ever since, you know, doing the best I can with what I have. I'm not perfect. And Allah didn't want me to be perfect. He didn't make me no angel. When I mess up, I ask for forgiveness. So when you said that about Ramadan, that's what came to my mind about how I started really making my prayers after that Ramadan. I can't remember which one it was, but anyway, ever since that one, I've been making my prayers and doing what I needed to do. Okay, as far as, and I think that's self-control right there. I control myself and make myself say my prayers like I'm supposed to do, that what Allah wants me to do. And the stuff about looking at oh wow. Okay, that's it.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I mean, so if you look at our worship, it will guide you through to have a self-control. Imagine somebody pray 5 times a day in time and fast a month of Ramadan and go for pilgrimage and pay zakah for a charity. If you have this commitment, this will guide you through to have a self-control about yourself. Sister Anisa, love to hear you.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. I have to go back to the picture because making salat is something that I have never had a problem doing. But what I have done since learning more about my fitra is paying closer attention to my salats. In other words, I have been in situations where I got to do it quickly or I'm going to run out of time. And that's mainly because I've been in a work environment. But now that I'm at home, I don't have this situation going on. I do have a different situation going on relating to making salats in a chair, trying to do ablution the best I can without running water. I've had to do some changes and ask Allah to help me, to guide me through this time that I'm going through when I don't have anybody for me, just to kind of take care of me. So my fitra has guided me differently. Also, I have been dealing with all kinds of different people, personalities that I never had to encounter before. Most of the people I dealt with were just children or a couple of people of my peers and the sisters and brothers here at the website. But now I'm dealing with outside people, people who are Muslims, and it's like Allah guides me to talk to these people that are Muslims that are driving me, mainly men. And it's like they are Muslims and they're so happy when they see me as a Muslim. And yet they have to pick me up, put me in a chair, and I'm going to Astaghfirullah, this man is lifting me up, and more or less in his heart, he's saying the same thing. And then I'm sitting in that van driving for a half hour to an hour with them by myself. And Allah just forces me to bring out my fitra and give them information about Islam to enlighten their fitra. And it's like, this is what Allah has me doing, as opposed to just sitting in a car riding with this strange man and not saying anything and not knowing what the thoughts are coming from his head. And I'm trying to correct my thoughts, which means I'm sitting on and put my gin in the corner somewhere, because some of these men are quite fine. I mean, it's like, whoa, I'm 80 years old and I'm still like in my soul. The shaitan is still getting to me, using me. Oh my gosh, he looks really good. I don't mind him picking me up. I mean, different things like that I've got to fight. So it's like I'm going through a whole different stage in my life where I'm dealing with these different characters of people, the different smells that they have. It's like, subhanAllah, help me here a lot. And even with my caregivers, I got to deal with them too. So I'm thankful to be going through the classes that we're going through now that talks about the fitra, that helps me to keep my light lit, as opposed to letting shaitan just dip in there a little bit and dim it. I've got to be even stronger, especially my salats, trying to make my salats. And I noticed, Dr. Awesome, I'm on a whole different level now when I'm making my salats. I can be making my salats and all of a sudden I'm in a different scene. I've got people in my salat. I don't know who these people are, but they come in, it's like I almost doze off. And I have to wake myself up to find out, where are you? Where are you? This is something I'm fighting right now. I've never had to deal with this. I mean, I've had annoyances making salats, but never having characters to come into my salat. I mean, sleigh rides and I mean, different stuff. It's just crazy. It's really crazy. And I'm going over the Billahi Ministry trying to redeem. And sometimes I don't know where I am in my salats. So I'm trying to work on that and get closer to Allah, to ask Allah to help me, to keep me steadfast in Kushur. You know, help me with this, because that's what I'm fighting now. So my classes that I'm getting right here, that's what I'm focusing on. SubhanAllah. MashaAllah. Yes.
Jazakallah khairan, Sister Isa. Sister Layla,
Yeah.
what do you say about the people comes during the Salah?
Well, this is, this is something, and this is why I'm doing this whole series. That's why I love this book, Diluting Wala Wal Better, because it's breaking down the meaning of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. That's the Aqidah. That's all your good deeds. None of that stuff matters if your belief system isn't correct. And one of the things I tell you guys all the time, and we also went over in chapter 4 of this book, when you are at your weakness, that personal jinn that's assigned to your heart, he knows when your strengths and your weaknesses too. And he knows that you are being tested. And so while you are praying, making your salat, those people coming into your mind, that's your personal jinn whispering, trying to get a reaction from you, and also deep down your subconscious, because you got other issues you dealing with too, because I'm not going to talk about it here, but your subconscious is telling you, you got all these men doing for you when there is a man that's supposed to be there to do for you, and he ain't there. And then you got, so your subconscious, because you're a strong woman and you do have understanding of your deen, you dealing with that. And then you're surrounded by Christians. That's going to always be your test, because you come from Christianity. You come from a Catholic background that you were active in. And, Shaitan is always trying to tell you reindeers and Rudolph and sled rides and jingle bells. Maybe you should have been a Christian, because with the Christian church, there's the Christians take care of their people. That's one of the 6 things that the prophet said, 6 reasons as to why the Christians will always be in a majority over us. 6 good things they have. One of them is they take care of their sick. They take care of their elderly. They take care of their orphans. And you got Shaitan telling you, look at you, you're sick. Ain't no Muslim here to care for you. That man ain't there to care for you. His family ain't there to care for you. Maybe you should have been at the church, because the church would have had the sisters there come and take care of you. They wouldn't have had the men. So this is your own personal demons. This is your jihad, your struggle that Allah, and remember, the older we get and the wiser we get, the stronger our challenges. This is the biggest test you've ever had, Anissa.
Yes.
And your jinn is whipping it to you. Your kushua is no longer concentrating on your words. Your concentration has been disrupted with your shaitan and your subconscious. And you're going to have to strike the balance. Remember, we talked about striking the balance, owning up, recognizing what our shortcomings are, and then address it. You're going to have to address those things. You know?
Sister Anissa, you are not the only one who have this issue. But at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, some companion came to him and complains from something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays, so this is something that comes and goes, comes and goes. So if you say La ilaha illallah, if you say Allahu Akbar, when you pray, you say Allahu Akbar. Try to empty your heart from anything but Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Like not to be thinking about any condition, bad or good. Try to empty your heart and try to bring the greatness of Allah to your nafs, to your heart. So this will overcome any other ideas, any other thoughts. So the reason we say Allahu Akbar between different steps in our prayer is to remind yourself with the greatness of Allah. Allah is greater than myself. Allah is greater than my family. Allah is greater than my friends, greater than my boss, great at everything. So why do you make yourself busy with all of this? So there is a way to handle that, but it needs a true intention and focus.
Mhm.
And whenever something happen like that, you say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, and you do like this without spray.
Yes.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم to your left. This
And
is my left, by
And
the way,
she's
not my
probably
right.
doing that, but that's
Yeah.
just a temporary cure.
Yeah.
And you know that, because we talked about that. She knows what to do to take them thoughts away. Like, and that's what she's doing. But it's only a temporary fix. It's going to
Yeah.
keep happening when you pray until you do what we talked about. Sit down every night. Take that me time. Think about your life. Think about what you're doing that you shouldn't do, what should be done. Think about the things you need to address, like we talked about yesterday in class. Address the issues. Don't let the issues just lay there. You know what needs to be addressed in your personal life to prevent those thoughts from coming back. You have to tackle them. You have to check them. You have to put those issues in check. Otherwise you're going to be, all the rest of your prayers will be doing that.
Okay. I have a question. Do you have friends to speak with?
Yeah, she got that. She knows what Anissa is extremely intelligent, and I'm not getting into her personal business, but she knows what she got to work on.
If you sit by yourself on your own, so all of these thoughts will come to your mind. But I would say something. If you don't use your relationship with others to speak the truth, to speak about Allah and the Messenger, this idea will come to your mind. So try to deliver the message
to the people it needs to be delivered to.
Exactly.
She got friends. She got a lot of people around her, but she needs to address the people who need to be addressed. You have to deal with the toxic people. That's toxic. You have to deal with, and you know what I'm talking about. You got to check them because you got friends. Anissa got friends and all that. That ain't her issue. She got to right her personal situation. The people that need to be checked. Because I wish I could check them for you.
About Allah, 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 the Prophet said, Allah said, Allah said. If you keep saying that, so all this idea will be vanish. So try that. Try to be among people who deliver the message, and like a chaplain, copy Sister Layla.
Oh, she knows. She doing it. She doing all that. Anissa's doing that, but she got to do the right one. She know what I'm talking about. But I'm proud of you for the simple fact that you recognize what it is. That's the difference between her and Elma. Elma gave a nice story, but Anissa knows what she got to do.
Starts when you recognize the defect.
She took the step. She recognized what it is, and she know what she got to do. So these classes are beneficial to you. I see that with you. I didn't see that with Elma, but I see that with you. But the reason why
Elma is going back and forth to the self-love because the manipulation.
But she doesn't recognize the cause. She doesn't recognize why. She doesn't recognize what her weakness is because she doesn't attend all the classes. She got to be here for these classes. We've been working on this for the past year, to be honest.
I agree with you.
But she doesn't. All she say is, I got a problem. I don't love me. I don't love me. That's pity party. I'm teaching y'all the reason why you don't love you. Why everything begins with and ends with la ilaha illallah. Why are you insecure? Look at yourself.
Do you say
deal with it?
Don't love me, meaning that I'm not satisfied with myself?
She means exactly what she says. She doesn't love herself. And she got to figure out why. You know, you got to dig deep.
Is it about satisfaction?
No, it's about herself. And it
Okay,
all
if
stems
somebody-
from childhood. It stems from
somebody-
your parents. It stems from her past relationships with men, all of that. So like I said, I don't want to get into a personal issue, but I know them all because I know all my students.
I can have a list of people in my life that they didn't deserve my love.
That ain't her problem.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. You cannot control everybody. You cannot control people. But we got to control ourselves.
Right. And why come you can't control yourself? That's what she's got to dig in. What is it that's, Anissa knows, what is it that's keeping you from loving yourself? What is it? And it all begins with la ilaha illallah. What is it about you and your purpose in life that's preventing you from getting to the status where Anissa does love herself? I mean, if Fresno loves herself, why are you not there yet? What's holding you back? What is it about you understanding your purpose and what your journey is that's preventing you from loving yourself and being so concerned with what other people think of you? That's what Elma's at. She's concerned with what other people think, when you shouldn't care what no one think but Allah.
We must love ourselves,
right,
and care about ourselves to be in paradise.
Y'all got to dig.
And in the hereafter. I mentioned before, there is a paradise in this dunya, and if people do not taste the paradise in this dunya, they will not deserve paradise in the hereafter.
And my classes are deep and intense. I'm taking y'all there. Y'all got to pull it out.
The sign, there is a sign for people who love themselves. Again, there is a sign for people who love themselves. Another sentence. There is a fake sign for people who believe they love themselves. So you got people who don't believe in Allah, and they say, I love myself. You love yourself, and then you are going to be the feet of the hellfire. The one who truly loves yourself is the one who cares about himself to be in paradise here in dunya and in the hereafter. Again, so what is the true sign for loving yourself? The true sign is that you love yourself and you follow the straight path to have paradise within your chest, in your heart, during your lifetime, and this will qualify you to be in paradise in the hereafter. There is nothing else. You may lose many things in your life. You may lose your property. You may lose your house. You may lose your family. You may lose your friends. You may lose, but if you still have your heart alive, this is your ticket to paradise. So again, there is a true sign and a fake sign. The true signs for loving yourself is you look at yourself. Are you live accordingly? I love myself, so I want to be in paradise here in this life and in the hereafter. For people who say we love ourselves, and you say you see them like walking with a scarf, going to the nightclub, having violation, like drinking and going out and gambling. These are people who do not love themselves. Even if they say we love ourselves, they are wrong. They don't love themselves. So the sign for yourself. And then if you go back to the aqidah, the tawheed, al-wala wal-bara, the tawheed, the faith, if you study the faith and the aqidah, this will guide people through. And this will promote you to love yourself. And the way to love yourself is to love Allah and His Messenger better than yourself.
To love your religion, to love your religion too. Wala wa better. Allegiance to Allah, allegiance to the Prophet, and allegiance to the religion of Islam. And that's where we lose a lot of you, because a lot of you don't love the religion.
Shaitan behind these thoughts. Shaitan is whispering and telling people that you don't love yourself. You don't love yourself. You don't love yourself. Try to kick him out of your way and to prove to him that I love myself. That's why I offer my prayer. I love myself. I fast. I love myself. So my heart is full of faith. And as you heard Sister Sahar earlier, she said, Tasbih, you say Subhanallah, you say Astaghfirullah, you say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you make the prayer upon the Prophet. So,
but you got to know why you do that. And this is the problem. You don't love yourself. You don't love the religion because you don't understand your religion. Knowledge is the key to everything. And that's the thing I'm trying to emphasize with all of you listening, those of you on Twitch, TikTok, everywhere that's listening to me. When you guys, like Allah says, knowledge, seeking knowledge, don't just say, oh, alhamdulillah, subhanallah, mashallah. That don't work if you don't believe in it. And how can you believe in it if you don't understand what it is, what it means, why we do that? So it's all about seeking the proper knowledge of Islam, guys. We got a lot of Muslim women today. This is a problem, a high apostasy rate of Muslim women because they don't love Islam. They think Islam is oppressive. They think Islam is against women because they don't have the proper knowledge of our religion. They don't understand that we were elevated above all other women in the world. We have rights that we can do. You just don't know what they are. We have roles. You don't know what they are. We can take careers. You just don't know the lawful and the unlawful. So the reason why a lot of you young girls are suffering with self-esteem issues, self-respect issues, self-love issues is because you and all that Arabic don't help none of you. Elma can read the Quran in Arabic better than probably Sahar. That's how good she is in reading the Quran. Okay? But do you have knowledge of what it is you're reading? Do you have knowledge of Allah? Okay? Do you understand what your role is as a woman? Do you understand that Allah did raise you up above all other women? Do you understand that you do have rights, that you can do things? You can work. Like you sisters didn't understand, I can work. As long as, that's the thing, y'all don't know the conditions. So once you seek the proper knowledge of this religion and the understanding of it, that's when you'll love the religion in addition to Allah, in addition to the Prophet. And once you love your religion, now my self-esteem can come because I got a purpose. And I know that I'm not like what other people think. I am a woman of empowerment. I am a woman of dignity, humility, and I demand my respect. Okay? So it's all begins with knowledge. All that Arabic, Dr. Asim, these women all can, most of them memorize the Quran, but they don't understand the religion. They have no knowledge of Islam. They think that they're oppressed. The ones that are born Muslim, the ones that are born Muslim, not Nanisa and them. My Muslims that come from Muslim countries here, they think that they're oppressed.
Memorizing the Holy Quran or uttering the word.
That's all it is singing.
SubhanAllah, without reflection.
Right. That's the reflection part. We got to reflect, ponder. That's what this class is about. That's what I'm teaching y'all in the 6 o'clock class. Don't just sing the Quran. Don't just say, subhanallah, mashallah, alhamdulillah. Reflect on those words. Those are words and statements of empowerment. Do you even know what they mean in English?
You know, Sister Layla, sometimes they make hyper, like gossip, and they start saying, Astaghfirullah, I'm gonna gossip now.
Yeah. They don't understand.
So,
they don't know.
It's a very complicated issue, but the solution starts with Tawheed and Aqeedah.
It's all about knowledge, the knowledge and understanding what it is, what we believe in.
Let me go back to love yourself or don't love yourself. Allah says in the Quran, لكي لا تأسوا على ما فاتكم. So we shouldn't blame ourselves for anything that happened to us before. ولا تفرحوا بما آتاكم. And don't become very happy because of the good condition that you are in nowadays. Because try to have them equal in your life. Like whatever problem occurred to you, equal to the good stuff that happened to you. لكي لا تأسوا. Never blame yourself for anything in the past. It is gone. It is gone. You can't change that. You cannot. Nobody can change that.
Like Anissa, the temporary fix, blowing over my shoulder and subhanallah, a'udhu billah, temporary. Make the permanent fix. A face that, well, you know what you got to deal with. You know what you need to check. Check it. Put it in place. Okay?
You want to continue this topic next week?
Yeah, this is good because I'm disappointed. I want more, and I want participation from all of you. Geechee, Aiwa, all of y'all, because I haven't spent a lot of time and energy on this topic.
So we'll repeat this class next week.
Yes.
And after that, we have the reflection on sacrifice.
I thought
sacrifice.
Did we do sacrifice before?
What?
I think we did. Didn't we do sacrifice first? No.
I thought we did it with the sacrifice.
We did that when we talked about Abraham alayhi salam and Ismail.
Just to remind people with this issue, because we are close to the day of sacrifice.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did.
It's up to you. So next week, self-control again.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good. We need to
because this is something like if you got the strength to do it, you would be better off. You will have the self-control upon everything in your life, and you shouldn't worry about anything. You feel that you are powerful, you have everything under your command, and nobody will manipulate you, twist you, or do something. And you got your way clear in front of you, as black and white. So inshallah, we'll end the class at this time, unless if somebody wants to say something. Anybody want to share?
This was a wonderful class. Thank you both.
Alhamdulillah. So, would you comment? Would you say something today?
I want to say that as the seeking knowledge part, it's definitely the most important thing, and that's why we're here. And that's going to help us in all areas of life, whether self-love or whatever it is. That is what helps us at the end of the day, and that's what we're here.
Because if you follow the mainstream, you will find the wrong terminology they have been used and think about, which shouldn't exist among Muslim community. Like self-love and others. We love Allah and His Messenger better than anything else, and we shouldn't allow anybody to manipulate our life. And if it happened, so maybe it happened when we forgot about, or we didn't apply the rule of Islam sometimes. So the manipulation starts. But if you follow precisely, and if you have your life accordingly, I believe manipulation will not exist. And by the way, it starts with an inch, and after that, an inch become like a foot, something like that. So, so inshallah, we'll continue this class next week, and inshallah, next week you can prepare more thoughts about this topic, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم.